WHBC.
The Kenny and JT Show is brought to you by Roosters, Wings, and More. Be fun. Be casual.
So here we go.
These guys have a lot to say, and they never stop talking.
If I'm here and you're here, doesn't that make it our time?
Sky's the limit and space is the place.
Ooh, yeah. Live from News Talk 1480 WHBC.
It's a household name.
You understand me?
It's Kenny and JT.
Have a great show.
Got a little spring fever going on in here. It's 52 degrees. Coming to you live from the corner of 6th and Market in beautiful downtown Canton, Ohio. 52 in this Hall of Fame city.
48 in Medina today, where I'm at as we begin the show, and we are on a high today, not only temperature-wise, but the Cavaliers, JT, the hottest team in the NBA right now. They complete their 5-game, 12-day, 14 pairs of underwear trip for Tim Alcorn in convincing fashion last night, rallying to defeat the Denver Nuggets 119-117 thanks to the combination of Spida and the beard. How about that last night?
Do you believe now?
I'm getting there. I'm excited about it. They're 4-1 on that trip. They won their last 4. They're 2-0 with James Harden in a Cavaliers uniform. So I'm liking what I'm seeing. It's better than the alternative if they would have went 0-2 with Harden. So they're off to a very good start, but I can't wait to watch the next game, so I'm leaning that way.
A couple of weeks ago, I made a comment about Donovan Mitchell and does he make players around him better? And at that point in time, the answer could have been no. Well, right now, and I don't know, a lot of times they said when LeBron James was here, after the trade deadline, these guys would be reinvigorated. You know, they'd be more dedicated, more excited because of the trades that went down. Well, I don't know if that's the case. Donovan Mitchell looks different. Maybe it's because you added James Harden. I'm not sure, but James Harden absolutely, from what I've seen right now, makes everyone around him better. If you don't believe me, ask Jared Allen.
JT, I'm in agreement with you. And here's my opinion on it, okay? I think this is why you're seeing what you're seeing out of Donovan Mitchell, right? Donovan Mitchell right now is the best player on the team, okay? He was first team All-NBA last year. James Harden is headed to the Basketball Hall of Fame when his career is over. I'm not a huge Harden fan, but, you know, the numbers and the MVP season, he's going to the Hall of Fame. I believe that Donovan Mitchell wants to impress James Harden. I believe he looks up to James Harden and doesn't want to let him down. So he's like, okay, I got to play my ass off to prove to James Harden that I'm worthy of the accolades I'm getting and that this is my team, but also not only prove it, but also share the spotlight. I think Donovan's done a nice job in both of these games. And you're right. He is rejuvenated, man. He's played very well these last 2 games since Harden came on board.
Well, we've got to give the credit to Kobe Altman because putting this thing together was the main reason that you wanted to maybe think in the long term of re-signing Donovan Mitchell to an extended contract. And the good news is this. They make this team better, and this team looks totally different right now. And I know it's a small sample size, but from what you're seeing, it is a totally different Cavaliers team. And it's one that it makes it a lot easier to watch because it's not as frustrating. Even though they weren't winning that game most of the time last night, it would have been a very easy game to say, hey, you went there. It's the last game of the road trip. Maybe you let one slip away, but they never stopped fighting, and they played till the final buzzer. That's what you want to see from a team right now, and they're playing really well. And it's really nice to see not a huge drop-off when they go to the twos.
I lost $5 on the game yesterday. You know why?
How'd they cover?
Final game of a 5-game series on the road in that altitude, tired legs, can't wait to get home. For all intents and purposes, that's a game the road team loses 9 times out of 10.
Sure.
Well, it looked like the Cavaliers were on the way to losing it. They were down 11 twice in the second half, right? 11 early in the fourth quarter. And yet somehow, some way, they had that drive, whether it was, the extra motivation for Donovan, same for James Harden. You mentioned the guys off the bench. Now you've got Schroeder. Now you've got Ellis to go along with the other guys that were already on the roster. And they found a way to win it. And here's the thing that stood out to me the first 2 games with Harden in the lineup. The fourth quarters. Both games were won in the fourth quarter. Both games were won in the last 2 minutes. And both games, both Harden and Mitchell shined in the final 2 minutes. And there's a shot right there that Brian put up That's Harden. I believe that's the step-back jumper to tie the game late, and that allowed Donovan Mitchell, after a good defensive possession, to come down, get fouled, and make 2 free throws with under a second left to win the game.
It's hard to imagine a team like the Cavaliers, whenever you hear a record being broke or a record being set that doesn't belong or had been one of LeBron James's. And I heard last night during the telecast that they said that in the Sacramento game on Saturday night, it was the first time that a backcourt for the Cleveland Cavaliers had combined for 15 points each in a fourth quarter. And that's what they did against Sacramento. And then yesterday they ride that in and they win it at the end. It was kind of like reminiscent of what we saw over the weekend, that Duke North Carolina game, where North Carolina hadn't led the entire game. I know the Cavs had an early lead in this game, but for all intents and purposes, it was over 40 minutes where they didn't have a lead until that game was over. And with 0.9 seconds left on the clock, Donovan Mitchell hits 2 free throws. Unbelievable.
Again, his focusness, Jim Thome term, seems to be at an all-time high these last 2 games, and I think that's the Harden effect, wanting to prove to a guy he looks up to that he's on his level. And I wrote it down, JT, in the 2 games so far, Donovan Mitchell is shooting 50% from the field overall, above 50%, 24 of 47, okay? He's made 14 of 15 free throws in the last 2 games, and he has scored 67 points with 14 assists the last 2 games. And again, I just think that's that focusness that sometimes can't blame him. He gets tired late in games because he's carrying the load. So you lose a little focus. It's just human nature, right? But with James Harden there kind of, keeping an eye on Donovan, Donovan's like, okay, I'm not letting him down, as well as my other teammates, and Donovan's played well. And the other thing that stood out yesterday, JT, it was a triple double-double. And what I mean by that is 3 guys had double-doubles, thus triple double-double. You had Spido with 32 points and 10 assists, Harden with 22 points and 10 rebounds, and Jared Allen with 22 points and 13 rebounds, a triple double for the Cavs.
You're getting people involved. And I heard this earlier today, and I think it was Brian Windhorst in a podcast or somewhere where they were talking about, if you want focusedness, Jim Thome term, as you like to say, I will look at it this way. A lot more focus from your head coach and Kenny Atkinson. And I was a little bit down on him when they were playing like crap earlier on the season. But he's focused now on the fact that now, instead of a big 4 or the core 4, as they called it, it's more or less a big 4-5. And that means they're focused on the fact that the leader of this team, forget about Evan Mobley, forget about anybody else on this roster, everything goes through Donovan Mitchell now, the way it should be.
I'm seeing him accepting that leadership role. I'm seeing James Harden not trying to rock the boat and come in and want to be the leader. He's playing alongside of Donovan Mitchell. And how about this? 2 things. They have yet to have a practice together. They've watched film. That's it for his first 2 games. So they haven't practiced, won't be able to do so. They're off today. No practice. They will play tomorrow against Washington. Then it's the All-Star break, right? So these guys are doing it without any practices, and they're doing it without Evan Mobley. They've won 9 of their last 10 games, 4 in a row, and Mobley's been hurt for most, if not all, of that stretch. And I can't wait to get him back, but I'm going to ask you this question. What's the best way to put this? Jared Allen is playing his ass off right now. He's playing as well as we've seen him for, extended stretch of games, right? He had a career high recently, 40, another double-double last night, 3 games in a row, double-double, but there's no Evan Mobley in the lineup. Is that going to change when Evan Mobley comes back? Are you going to get the same Jared Allen you're getting now when another big is incorporated into that, and then he's got to learn how to play with Harden and Mitchell together with Jared Allen? Are you at all concerned there?
Well, I'll answer that the way that Tim Alcorn would. That's not a question I can answer. That's for Kenny Atkinson to answer. I have no idea. Somebody's going to have to come off the bench. I mean, you started guards, in my opinion, at the forward spot last night. So I have no idea. I mean, when you're starting Tyson and Merrill, and there's no Dean Wade last night either, you don't know what they're going to do.
I looked at it last night, starting line. Okay, that's interesting. All right, let's see how Tyson had a nice game. Merrill, unfortunately, picked up 3 fouls, I think, in the first quarter. Had to go to the bench, but he had a big 3 late in the game. And I thought Kenny did a nice job of substituting at certain points in the game. And I thought Denver's coach, I'm drawing a blank.
Adelman?
Adelman.
Yeah.
I thought he did a horrible job late in the game by keeping Jokic out when he did, as well as Murray out, and that helped the Cavaliers get back in. So I thought Kenny Atkinson outcoached him last night, and the Cavaliers made the plays down the stretch on offense and defense. And JT, for whatever reason, this stat blew me away last night. Do you know that in his career, the Joker averages under 20 points a game against the Cavaliers? Isn't that crazy?
Yeah,
this
but
guy's a 3-time MVP.
But he also gets you triple doubles, which, you take the good with the bad. I don't know if a triple double is that big of a deal when you're that big of a dude, right?
I mean, triple double is always a big deal, but he's their leading scorer. He's their go-to guy, and for whatever reason, you could say, yeah, he had a triple double last night, but Jared Allen went toe-to-toe with him, man, or maybe even outplayed him as he goes 22 and 13. And I think he missed, one shot or two shots last night from the field?
The good news for me is the fact that Denver's third in the West. That's a great win on the road, like you said, at the end of a road trip, a long road trip, one of the longest of the season, actually, and in that altitude. And when you take on a team like that, you don't expect to win, and maybe they're a little bit tired. And even Donovan Mitchell said in the postgame, it's been a long week, and I was at the Super Bowl last night. And that's one of the reasons why I thought that he would maybe have a little bit of an off game. He didn't get there till 11 o'clock in the evening the night before, and you just don't know what to expect. And then again, you have to question a guy's integrity, and what does he mean to his own team, and did it mean more to him to perform well in Denver the next night than it did to be in Santa Clara the night before? So kudos to him for that. And as far as James Harden not liking him, I didn't like him either. But I'm going to tell you this. I didn't like LeBron James, when he wasn't a member of the Cavaliers either. Now, I don't particularly care for the way it looks, but the thing I do like on James Harden is the fact that it looks wonky at times, to use their own terms. But when he gets into the lane, he either finds somebody to dish it off to, or he gets fouled. And these are the things we haven't seen from this team since maybe LeBron James was here.
Yeah, it's must-see TV now when they play. It just is.
Well,
this is the best scoring backcourt in the NBA, and through 2 games, JT, again, more stats, deep dive, 112 points between Harden and Mitchell in the first 2 games.
Right.
So, you're looking at a dominance in the backcourt with Mitchell and Harden together. 112 points, 29 assists, 15 rebounds, and how about this stat? 24 of 25 from the free throw line combined between Donovan Mitchell and James Harden.
How about this? It's just fun to watch. It's not mind-boggling any longer. It's not frustrating. You watch a Cavaliers game and you're not screaming at the TV the whole time.
I screamed a little bit yesterday. When they were down 11, I'm like, here we go. This is going to get away. Here's where their legs are tired. I was wrong. They found a way to come back, and everybody contributed here and there a little bit.
Right.
And they found a way to get it done. And give Kenny Atkinson more credit, JT, because that last possession by Denver, Hardaway misses the 3, right? They get the rebound. He could have called timeout. He said, nope, let's just let Donovan go. And Donovan, I loved this yesterday. He did not stop and shoot the 3, right? They only needed a 2 or free throws to win the game. And he was aggressive, and he took Murray off the dribble, got fouled, and then calmly stepped up and hit both of those free throws. And I love the fact that he didn't settle. He didn't shoot a step back. He went to the basket, and it paid dividends as they get the win.
Let's just keep things rolling. Like you mentioned, there's one game before the All-Star. Let's stay healthy. Let's get home tomorrow night. They take on the Wizards, a team that really made a lot of moves before the trade deadline as well. I don't think they did anything really that's, to make them better this season. Let's not let one get away that you should win, right?
Right.
Like last night, the most important thing with me is the fact that if you even would have dropped that game, you would have came back 3-2. You end up 4-1 on the road trip. But the important thing to me was just don't get blown out. And instead, they turn around and win it at the buzzer, basically.
Yeah, they got blown out in the first game at Phoenix, and I'm like, oh, geez. I was hoping for 3-2 at that point, right? Losing the first game, they rattle off 4 in a row, 9 of 10. Now, tomorrow night, here's my thinking in covering this league for many, many years. This last game before the break, the favorite team, if you're going to upset somebody, if you're the underdog, it's usually the last game before the All-Star break and the first game coming out of the All-Star break. So hopefully the Cavaliers will be focused, mentally tough, and not take Washington for granted. And maybe this is a game where the others, besides Harden and Mitchell, because they carried the load on the road trip, the others step up and lift the Cavaliers to a victory with, the guys coming off the bench as well as other starters.
But does that include a team that's pretty much overhauled their entire lineup? I mean, I know it's only 3 guys, and I know what you're talking about, the last game before and the first game after the All-Star break. But when have you seen a team make a huge move? I mean, the Cavaliers, they've made moves at the trade deadline before, but has there ever been anything? I don't think there's ever been a move this big where you bring in a future Hall of Famer, a top 75 scorer of all time in the NBA. I don't believe we've ever done anything like of this nature, have they?
The Cavs, no.
So therefore, I don't care if you've been covering that league for 30 years. In Cleveland, we've never seen anything like this.
But the trend is it's a winnable game for the underdog, no matter if it's the defending NBA champs, a team that's won 5 in a row, because sometimes those guys are looking like Donovan Mitchell. Did you know he's in the 3-point contest for All-Star Weekend?
No.
Yeah, so Donovan Mitchell, I wrote it down here, Jamal Murray, Damian Lillard, Bobby Portis Jr., Con Canuple, the rookie, Tyrese Maxey, Norman Powell, Devin Booker, and Donovan Mitchell will be in the 3-point contest. So sometimes the stars that are headed elsewhere might not be focused on the last game, especially against an underdog like Washington, and that's how you end up losing one you shouldn't. So hopefully that won't be the case.
You would hope that the experience of Donovan Mitchell being in his 7th All-Star game, that doesn't have any bearing on the way he approaches any of these games. Now, I get it, especially the last game before the All-Star break. When you're playing a stiff like the Wizards, you may not give it your best. But in a situation like this, and like I said, we've never seen anything like this, where they brought in a guy that's been in the league 13 years and another guy that's been in the league for 17 years, future Hall of Famer, teaming up with a new backcourt. A lot of people expecting it to be or already is the best backcourt in the NBA. Maybe you don't let one get away from you tomorrow night.
Yeah, let's hope not. And so I'm excited to watch tomorrow night to see which team shows up. I'm expecting the likes of Dennis Schroeder, let's see, Keon Ellis, Jalen Tyson, maybe Craig Porter, right? Those guys to have bigger roles, bigger games, and then the Cavaliers get the All-Star break. The only one that's doing anything, right, is Donovan Mitchell. Everybody else didn't make any of – I take that back. Jalen Tyson is playing in the
Rising Stars or whatever
sophomores.
It's called.
Yeah, whatever that is. So he'll be playing. So the Cavaliers will have 2 guys represented there. So that'll be good for everybody else to get rest and be ready to go when they come back.
What's really good is in Italy right now, United States women's hockey team featuring one of the Kachuk sisters leading that team from up. No, we don't have any Kachuk sisters, do we? They're in men's hockey. But Layla Edwards from Cleveland Heights leading Team USA over Canadians by a score of 3-0. Do we say nil in hockey? Let's just say put that team away. We don't care about those Canucks. Let's go. And you know what else they're doing?
What's that?
They're wearing the throwback Miracle on Ice uniforms.
Nice for the ladies to do that, to represent the men's team. The last time the men won gold, 1980. It's been that long. Last time the women won gold was back in 2018. I was telling you before we came on the air, women's hockey in the Olympics started in 1998. USA won the first ever gold medal in 1998, but Canada has won 5 of the last 6 gold medals, including in 2022. And the 2 favorites are the 2 that are playing today. And this is the preliminary round, okay? And you advance based on how you do in the preliminary round. Tough word for me to say.
I guess.
And I have a feeling this isn't the only time that Canada and USA will play in women's hockey. And the other note for today's game is, I guess, Canada's best player, and I don't know her name, but she's the best player in the world. She was injured in their last game and is not playing today. So Team USA better take advantage of that. And if they win today, they're off to, I think, a 3-0 or 4-0 start.
It's their first 3-goal lead versus Canada in Olympics since 1998. Team USA right now looking really good on the ice. And I got to tell you something else. When I look at this game, and again, these are the only reasons that I'm watching the Olympics right now. We've got the game on in studio, and I looked it up because I hadn't really heard of it. The Professional Women's Hockey League is the equivalent of the NHL for women. Now, there is a Professional Women's Hockey League, And Layla Edwards expected to go high, maybe first, second, third pick. Who knows? That draft happens in June.
Oh, really? I didn't know that either. So you're dropping some knowledge on me. Thank you. That's good to know. And great for a local girl to do well. And hopefully she'll come back with Team USA and they'll get their third Olympic gold medal in hockey. Canada with 5, Team USA with 2. They're the only 2 countries in women's hockey to win gold. USA and Canada. I believe Sweden took home a silver, in 2006. So it's either been Canada or USA, gold and silver in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 6 out of the 7 Olympics.
Well, you know what it is? It's kind of like what I've been talking about for years. We talk about hockey, and I talk about the fact that I didn't grow up with hockey. The Cleveland team had moved. They came back. They moved. They had a minor league team, whatever. And then you got an NHL team in Columbus. We never had clubs. We never had high school teams. There's a club now, but we didn't grow up with it. So everything we knew about hockey was what we might see on TV. And remember, we're at that age where even there was no ESPN when we were growing up. So we never saw the Penguins. Right. We never saw anyone. The only thing I knew about the NHL is I had relatives that lived in Montreal. Okay? So, I mean, I had no idea. We'd never been to games. We had never seen it. We didn't know the rules. Now we know a little bit more. And as I've told you numerous times, I've been to a lot of Blue Jacket games, and it makes it really difficult when they stink all the time.
Yeah, it doesn't really make you want to listen to it on the radio or watch on TV if they're in last place and, they're knocked out of the playoffs at the halfway point. But since they made the change at head coach, right, Columbus has played a lot better. So maybe they'll give you something to root for here in the second half of the season because this is the all-star break for the NHL, allowing the players from all the different countries.
Right.
But did you know this, JT? And I didn't know this until I was, looking up some things for the men's hockey stuff today, that no Russia, no Belarus in these Olympics.
Oh.
They've been banned because of the invasion of Ukraine. So the Russians and the Belarus, nobody playing for those 2 countries in this. So that should help, I would think, Canada and the United States maybe advance further in the tournament.
Screw them.
Thank you,
Tonight
Kurt
we
Russell.
stay with them. I wouldn't know anything on the world stage anyway about a Russian team and in hockey versus our team because now we've got NHL players. So I would imagine they would be a formidable opponent. It's just good enough to see right now when we can beat Canada at anything, I'm all for it because I've got relatives up there. You've got a former roommate up there, and I can't wait till this thing's over so I can text them all.
So let's take a look at the medal count right now to see how we're doing, if we're kicking at least Canada's ass in the medal count, all right? Norway leading the way with 11 total medals, 6 of them gold for Norway.
Wow.
Italy, the host country, with 11 total medals, tied for the top spot, but they only have 2 gold medals. The United States, third in the total medal count with 7. Let's see, they picked up today a silver medal in mixed doubles curling as they lost to Sweden in the gold medal match.
How many beers did they drink during that event?
I think you get a beer for every point you score. So
you have to shotgun a beer. Every time you score, you got a shotgun one.
Sweden got 6 beers, and the United States got 5. But Sweden wins the gold. The USA takes the silver. The United States with 2 gold medals to this point, 3 silver and 2 bronze or copper, however you want to call them, 7 total.
I'm going to call them copper, and I'll tell you why. Have you read the story about several athletes found that their medals are breaking and the ribbons are tearing off?
No, really?
Olympic organizers at it's Milan Cortina Winter Games say they're paying maximum attention to the growing problem. Medals are falling apart. Well, maybe they wouldn't if you really use bronze and not copper.
Wow. I didn't hear that one. Well, hopefully, win gold, you won't have that problem, right?
Oh, no. It's happening with the gold medals, too.
Really?
They just cost more to fix.
The company they're using over there in Italy, they should be fired. You're fired. All right, here's what we're going to do when we come back. We'll keep you up to date on what's happening at the Olympics. We'll talk more Cavs a little later on in the show. But we've got basketball on our mind, and it's local high school basketball we want to talk about next with our guy, Dan Belford, the play-by-play voice. McKinley closing in on 2,000 career wins, the most in the state of Ohio. We'll talk about that and much more with local high school basketball. Dan Belford next.